Hey, how's everybody doing? My name is Tom Lins Nyback. This is 365 Days Towards Racial Change. Pleasure to see you out here. It's day 323. Moving right along. Got a lot of downtime with viruses and whatnot. And I've had a major life-threatening illness at one time, and I see the symptoms on CNN and watching people carry their respective crosses in this disease, and I remember that feeling. I doubt I'm immune from this, but this virus has no rhyme or reason. There's no, it's just not specific enough on who uh, gets it and dies or survives and stuff. It's pretty bizarre to watch healthy men and women my age and younger catch it and are gone within a week. It's like, wow, what? Yep. There's plenty of people get very sick and recover, and I guess go on to live happy lives as I did when I suffered a few decades ago from my little illness. I don't know. It is interesting to see. So, to you and yours at this time, April 2nd, got to check in on my some family members too. I hope you're doing well. I'm a little achy. I feel there's definitely something different about the season. And oddly enough, this is going might sound strange, but I've not been sick, and this is the I usually get sick twice a year like clockwork, and you can already guess it between winter and spring, fall and winter. I can expect some illness. Now I'm in a dry climate, so I know that has an impact, positive impact on my health, but by this time I've usually am fighting off some expected thing, and this season nothing. So the nothing, it's a worry. You have to understand it. If you get sick in a time in very in an expected fashion, then not getting sick on those seasons is different, and it makes me wonder. Anyway, we're not going to go into a medical thing. I mean, I stopped watching CNN because it's just a virus. You know, I mean, I get it, deadly, and even me, I'm infected with the kind of ghoulish type interest because I see they got the numbers, and so I've been following the percentage of deaths in the United States when it was just at 1% and it hovered there, and then it just really shot up. And so I've been doing the math, and we're solidly in the 2% range, and this is only within a week or so of people dying, and we haven't hit what they say is the peak yet. Anyway, so that'll be a video log if the human race is wiped out, and some Martian archaeologist happens on this video log, they can further put the pieces together on what happened on planet Earth. Anyway, let's get to it. What we're doing, this is racial change, and we're here talking about black issues in America, how being black, white, America has firmly established itself along racist and capitalistic lines of power, and those two pillars, um, on those two huge pillars, America rests. And it's no different in sickness, health. It's almost like a marriage, almost, huh? Wartime, peace, capitalism, and racism reign supreme in the land. It gets exacerbated when we are in crisis. That exacerbates, um, pain, makes time stretch out and feel short and everything. And so it's very important to think about this because I don't want people to think that the virus, war, natural disaster suspends capitalism and racism. It doesn't, not by any means. And it's sad because I just saw a clip. They just went around the world and they're showing how different nations are responding to dealing with the virus. And one big sore spot that stuck out to me is South Africa. Right, you got a white power minority with absolute control and rule over a black majority. And don't give me Nelson Mandela and stuff. That's like holding up Barack Obama. Two great men beat the odds and yeah, bubbled up in white dominated cultures and stuff. Uh, but it has not moved any black agendas forward. And had those men uh, had a lot of rhetoric to support black people, they wouldn't have gotten that far, right? It, it's sad, it's political, all this stuff. So here we try to speak truth to power and be honest about who we are, you what's really going on in the midst of what's going on, right? Um, this is a period of time in the world where money is an issue. Economies are really falling apart now. But what's interesting is I don't hear impact on other economies of the world. It's only America where we're having this uproar and issue with resources, and that doesn't seem appropriate because we're not hearing the same. We're hearing about the illness around the world. We're not hearing economic impacts, layoffs, stimulus, and all this. What's going on financially in America that we have so much issues, right? In the past couple days or episodes here, I've been trying to encourage us to pay attention financially. Look at how lenders, landowners treat people at a disadvantage. You know, whatever. Get my money is the general attitude of land ownership of what's going on, right? The world or the country wants to have institute all these measures, stay-at-home measures, and all this stuff, but you don't hear them saying, look, we need to suspend the system totally, keep infrastructure going. That's it. This is America is on this extended sick day, including bills. You know, let um, let the government get on its printing press and handle infrastructure, so then everybody can feel better about staying home and not traveling and spreading the virus and all that. But because the country rests on capitalism and racism, it can't suspend things in that way. It can, and society wouldn't miss a beat, but it cannot because, for one thing, in my case, a thinker like me is like, man, if you can just throw the switch and ease my burden, why am I working my fingers to the bone? Of course, you don't want a whole lot of people thinking that way within a capitalist system. Very dangerous to have that freedom of thought. You want us so engaged in scrambling to make a life in this country that we don't realize that we are making life better, enriching the lives of someone else far away who don't really give a damn about what I'm going through to pay their mortgage, right? Um, and there's some other reasons you don't want to suspend the economy as aggressively as some other nations on the planet have done. They've done that. They've said, stay home. We'll get the fallout and stuff. That other countries have done it. Some countries have done it too late. Italy, right? They're like, oh, maybe we should have kept people at home. Now they are. Um, so they're going through that. But another reason is um, the people involved with greed, the people that encourage the environment where I'm working myself to the bone. Well, they don't want that to go on that much either. Um, they need to suspend that to some degree. A lot of things, a lot of issues going on here. And you'll find, I talk about power groups. I haven't talked about black and white specifically as I did early in this series. Because some of the lines are blurred between black and white folks. Um, but this is a specific, a particular time where black people do need to pay attention, look for opportunities. And so much of my presentations are about financials, about resources, and um, how to hold on to more of what you got, what you're working with. So pay attention and wash your hands and be healthy. I'm inspired to do this work by a man named Dr. Claud Anderson. Read a couple of his books. His work informs all of our discussions here. You can find him. He's easy to find here on YouTube, and I'll tell you some other resources, places you can find him. Black History Reader, 101 Questions You Never Thought to Ask. We are in this book today. If you have it, page 119, Politics Today. Black Labor, White Wealth, Search for Power and Economic Justice, and Dr. Anderson's National Plan to Empower Black America, poweronomics.com. You can find Dr. Anderson, again, at poweronomics.com. He's all over the internet. Easy guy to find, Dr. Claud Anderson. Behind me, you see the hashtag #us2 symbol. That's supporting black women having their community conversation support. Very important. Check out Black Enough, BLAGGNUF, kind of black Facebook experience. If you have a chance, check out Dr. Boyce Watkins. He's here on YouTube as well. The Black Business School, theblackbusinessschool.com. If you've got an entrepreneurial bone in your body. Also, I want to add a Mr. Tyrone Gregory. I actually, this is the one guy I've spoken to. doing very well, a lot of energy. Um, it's been a while, but because I know he was building his own business, but he's also has an incredible big heart outreach as far as understanding taxes and stuff like that. He sounds like a guy that really wants to work for you. I was in communication with him, I threw a wrench in my life and couldn't take advantage. But he's a guy I'll vouch for. Add him to the list. A good guy, Tyrone Gregory, and you can find him at self-employedtaxacademy.com. I think that's a little migration from when I first met him, kind of indicating more of a educational aspect of what he does, and that's what do you know? Give a man a fish, you feed him for one day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. And I think all the three guys I've mentioned would attest to that and live that. Um, uh, to encourage, to use your own strength for success. Oh, also, if you can't find your flavor here on the World Wide Web, then um, do what I did. Start your own little piece. See how far you go. I'm just out there um, kind of talking and just uh, using the efforts and work of another person. But so I'm learning along with you. I'm not. I might be. I might know the material because I've been handling it for 323 days now. But it adds up. See what you handle and commit to for that length of time, and you will be your own expert. Finally, we do take a look at fictional life, fictional account of slave life in America, Uncle Tom's Cabin. It's fictional, but it is a book informed by real events in the land. All right. Okay. Question 38 here, page 119 of Black History Reader. It's about politics and more about blacks having their own. And I can't tell you, I just, like it amazes me groups that had their own by being exclusive want to take issue with black exclusivity and resist that. I mean, that's how you become successful as a group. You have to have a period of exclusivity, gather yourself, gather your forces, gather your energy, and then you can, make a move. Then you can be competitive and see eye to eye. So I mean, it's no wonder some groups are highly opposed to black exclusivity, but um, we I say all that to say black folks need to get more. We can't be shamed into thinking it's bad to be exclusive and to create our own. We'd see a whole big difference if we had some allegiance to ourselves. Um, we might have different ideas about implementation, so that's an issue. But overall, as I'm planting seeds here, Dr. Anderson's seeds, all the little seeds, because I envision the success of black people moving about equally on the earth. It's something I'm not going to it's something that's, if it's going to happen, it's not going to happen until I'm long gone, dust and bones and ashes, right? This is just little projects. So, everybody doing this kind of work for black people. Oh, and trust me, white people got their little thing going and stuff. And every group's got this little thing going. It's just black people are, uh, oh, always engaged and encumbered. We are the ones doing the most. We're like the mouse on that treadmill, just going in circles and circles. Any little break we get is to rest a lot of times, and we don't get to explore our visions, our dreams, right? That's what makes this time very precarious. You know, put me all out of work, put me on the street. I'm going to think a little bit and reflect, like, wow, I worked my ass off and still got nothing. But I see those that worked less, got paid more, and are still comfortably in their space. Let me think on that. How does that work? How can I leverage that to work for me now? Hmm. One way is political power, which is might be the power, unless you can get to the level of a Bill Gates, where you just don't give a damn because the money came in so fast and so hard, and that's such a great amount that you've just um, you're sitting above all of it and stuff. You know what I mean? No, I love you much, Bill. It's all good. You use it. I don't give my props to people who leveraged the system and made it work. What can you say? Most of us, like me, are coming up from a space. Political power. Question 38 says, should blacks form and support their own independent national political party? I would say yes. Have a little issue with getting blacks together. That's going to be somebody else's problem. I'm just one of the initial messengers. Um, Especially now, politically, right? We got um, the blacks in general got behind Joe Biden, and that's Joe Biden will be the Democratic nominee. I have no doubt about that. Although I like Bernie Sanders more, but we're going to see Joe Biden and um, President Trump go at it in November. Now, but it doesn't matter because some Dr. Anderson promotes is blacks getting together as their own bloc. Or we talked in the past about black people being in a protected status, being the ward, you know, of some power or entity. If we began moving in the country uh, in those ways, that we'd gather more of what we're really after. Yeah, start to secure resources, wealth, the same prestige, respect, power held by the power group and other groups in the nation. Right? Politics is one of the big sources of that. Because politics is not just the president and the handful very powerful people at the top of the political food chain, but politics is your local judge, your magistrates, police force, um, law enforcement and then all that, the penal system, all that goes into politics, and black people would control more and more of that space. You can see a whole different um, idea uh, come about in the land. And I would say, let's encourage, if we're going to go in that direction, maybe there's some groups out there that have started. Um, if not, we want to think about, we don't want to be making a whole lot of noise when we don't have a whole lot of power. One thing that is uh, well, a common denominator about blacks and power is like, we got all kinds of tokens and statutes and laws, and we have you can't drop an N bomb or and things like that. But we don't have resources, and we can't maneuver in the system either. I mean, a statue is just that, a fixed thing in space and time. We don't want that. We want to be able to move up and down, backwards and forwards, just as the power group does in America. Until we get to that level where it's common for black people to be moving successfully in those ways, then all we've got is token, a lot of hot air being passed around in the world, and we don't have any we just don't have any real footholds from which to work if we can't move it around. Think about a spaceship out there in the vacuum of space. If you got a nice spaceship out there, but you're out of fuel, you can't maneuver. You're just there. We don't want that. Let's have some movement. Let's go between planets. Let's talk about light speed. Distance. Statutes, laws, and things. They're okay. Laws are important and all that, but it's not. In general, the group isn't as successful, and until the group is as successful, competing unencumbered, unhindered, then we've not reached our goal yet. Political power is going to be one of the pillars uh, which are going to sustain and support and move black people as a whole. We talked about this a lot in the past, the quid pro quo. I know the president went through a hell of a time with that, but we need that. We should not be ashamed of that as we go, as we start to reach. I'm in a position where my mind is finally clear and right. I see what I've been doing wrong. I'm envious of um, what other people have. Not so much covetous, because I want my own. But I see my fundamental problem is I'm trying to live a lifestyle. Like, I've got to want my lifestyle first before I can move out. So that has to happen first. And I kept trying to adopt a whole lot of things that weren't mine at the time, So I'm out there just all imbalanced in the world trying to live somebody else's truth. I got to live my truth. Live your truth out there. Quid pro quo. Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever party affiliation. Remember, it's just an affiliation. It's a reference. It's not all of who you are or can be. I would resist all those polarizations. A black party should be that. We're not Republican, Democrat, Independent, those are all created by white enterprises. What does black interest look like? I know it doesn't look like 100% of black children qualifying for uh, breakfast and lunch programs at school. Are there any white communities like that? Do you know of any? You put it in the comments, please. Where all the 100% of the white kids are qualified for a breakfast and lunch program at their public school. That's what I'm talking about. That's what that will be proof. When you get all the kids off of these programs and that they have the resources where they live at in their good, clean, spacious communities, then black people have come a distance. Um, and we'll finish up here. Historically, whites flee from black encroachment. In general, whites don't like a whole lot of black people around. Not really. They don't want to share the space. Obama, greatest achievement for a black man, but sad that he didn't make a move. He didn't even. And it was just. I get it. Like he couldn't have got to where he got to without the full endorsement of white folks, right? But to get there and still have black people at a disadvantage in America, that's wrong. Um, so black change, success, competition is just so much an afterthought in the land. We got to do much better than that. One way to change that for the better for black folks is to get together politically. Look at what successful groups are doing. They got together politically and they put their person, man or woman, in place, and then that group, they won't they maybe won't say it outright. They'll say how they're working for everybody and all that, but you'll notice that the people who look and talk like them are doing pretty well, right? I don't know any place, um, you know, like if there's this Hispanic person in a space, uh, in the leadership council, mayor, where black people are doing better than Spanish. I don't know if that place like that exists. I'm way over time. We're going to come back next time and just keep hammering this out. We got a couple more episodes to go. I'll see you soon. My name is Thomas Nyback. That's day 323 in the can. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.